Aha. Wow. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, live and direct, we are privileged, honored to have one of the finest artists. He's so dear to me, perhaps the dearest as far as I'm concerned. I always tell people, this is not to massage ego. I'm painting today because you have painted earlier. So let me say to the world, thank you to my boss, Edosa, Ogiugo, for painting and still painting. And that is why I am painting. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Prof, as I will call you. Thank you so much. And I'd love to say thank you to everyone who's come on board. I believe we'll have a really swell time. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are looking forward and we are ready to hear from you. Let me say here that, like I said earlier, that I'm painting because you have been painting and you are still painting. I came across your works years ago, and your works changed my orientation, changed my practice, and not just me. Not just me. One of the attendees today, when he sent me a message, said, you have brought Baba. Then whenever we see your work, we say, Daddy, Daddy. So Daddy, welcome on board, sir. We are so glad and privileged to engage you in this 1 hour. Now, let's go straight to today's class. You remember one time you came to us in University of Lagos when you had a demonstration class with the student?
Sure. That was long ago. That was like long ago. 2008 or something.
Yes, you're correct. You're correct. So today, we're going to have another class. And today we're having a larger global class, not practical now. So you're going to paint for us with words. We want to know, we want to know how this journey started. Because you see, at times, people see the glory. They don't understand the story. They are not aware of the story. And that story is a pointer to whatever glory you are seeing. So today you're going to be sharing with us few things, how this journey started. So this is not an interview. It's for those who are up and coming, the emerging artists who are looking up to you, including myself, for them to know that you didn't just get here. That this is how it started. It wasn't just rosy. You have gone through the ladder for you to have come. So the things you have been doing that has kept you this strong and this thick and this relevant are the principles we would like you to share with us. So let's start from the beginning. Number one, what's the foundation of your draftsmanship? Your drawing, how did it start? How did you discover? How did you discover this field? Yeah,
I knew being in the class with a professor it would be like jump questions, but I'll try to share from a very practical way. I think very early in life I discovered that I was configured to be an artist. To the best my knowledge can take me, I just drew and painted. Unfortunately, the challenges, like anybody from the regular, humble Nigeria background, there was no access to materials. So what I did was use what was available to me. And I think my father tried, my parents, they tried in all honesty, according to their ability, to help me with whatever I needed until I failed to progress, academically, and the riot act was read out. So I was stopped from doing any drawing or painting, because outside of my drawing books, I drew on any exercise book or any surface. There was loads and loads of inspiration around. My uncle of blessed memory, Cliff Ogiugo, was like a colossus with his little Joe in Daily Times back in the days. Then, of course, I lived in Benin City, where we literally breathe art.
Yeah.
Art in every home. And by default, I think that we just sipped it in. We had roadside artists that I drew inspiration from. They painted portraits like the Renaissance. And remember that back in Midwest State, or what became Bender State, we had well-stocked up libraries where we could go and borrow books. I never read those books because I'm not good with theories. I just looked at pictures and pictures and pictures of the Renaissance. I will return them, take another set. Then, of course, I had access to the children's Bible. And my favorite illustrator was Harry Anderson. Harry Anderson blew my mind. Then, through the library books, apart from the core Renaissance, I got hooked on Austin Rodin's sculptural pieces.
Oh,
they didn't look like the regular sculptures. They just exuded, they exuded life. So I got really drawn to Austin Rodin. And I think my primary school had an art studio, strangely, but it was called a craft studio. So once you get into your primary 5, primary 6, you will spend time. And guess what? I'll be the first to get into the craft room. I'll be the last to leave. And after school, I used to just take a walk to our craft teacher's workshop. He had a workshop somewhere close by my house in Benin City. So I did more of art growing up. And I think that's the only way I can explain it. It was just meant to happen.
All right, great. Let's take it further. Funke, Ifeta, and Wangboje.
Oh, wow. They are blowing my mind now. Funke Ifeta was so key and instrumental because she came in as a youth corper 1979, I guess, in Western Boys High School, delectable, really great woman. She took me as a child and introduced me not only to drawing exotic biscuits and coffee, just in the staff room, just as an incentive to encourage me to do more. She introduced me to techniques in drawing. Once we had a class I can never forget. We just used graphite to do our drawing and shading. And along the line, she just said, don't struggle with highlighting. Don't erase. Don't use your eraser. And she took a chalk, not pastel chalk, the regular chalk for the blackboard.
On blackboard.
And she just did a dash. And that thing stuck in my head. So I had the encouragement. Professor Wangboje my encounter with Professor Wangboje was after school. Because I had made up my mind, I mentioned earlier that I repeated my Form 4. But I then realized that having repeated, it was a good opportunity to settle down, to show my father I wasn't a dullard. He sent me into a science class. Yes, I think looking back now as a parent, sometimes you have to give them the benefit of the doubt. He wasn't educated, my mom wasn't. And look at, these are people struggling to make sure that they leave a good legacy. So, and being the first son, or the first child, by the way, I needed to leave by example. I needed to be a role model. I can see now, you know, benefit of hindsight. And so he said to me, no more drawing, no painting. He took me straight to the boarding house. You can imagine a tailor in the Federal Ministry of Works, any meager salary. He took me straight to the boarding house, told me no going out, and that was how I got into a science class. But cut long story short, another youth corps, unfortunately I can't remember his name now, from ABU, discovered me in my second term in the science class and took me straight to the principal and said, this boy must do fine arts in his final exam. So the principal, blessed memory, Mr. Agoke, said to us in his office that, okay, if we can find 6 more people in his class, then we will.
Enroll.
Fast forward to meeting Wangoji, having made my school sir with Division 2.
Wow.
My uncle of blessed memory, Cliff, and my dad, they took me to Uniben. Here I was standing before the great professor. And they said to him, this man, we want him to attend university. In fact, immediately I brought out the first drawing book. The man said, oh, you are qualified. You are qualified and your result is good. We will admit you. I stayed with him because he was in a very large studio. By the time my dad and my uncle left, I just went on my knees and I told him, sir, I'm sorry, I don't want to attend university.
that must be Ekewa campus.
Ekewa campus, you are right.
Yeah.
And the man asked a question, why? I told him, because I don't want to read, I don't want to do theories. I just want practicals. And I understand that the university is 80% theory oriented and 20%, whereas the reverse was the case with Polytechnic. So I told him, sir, I would love to attend a Polytechnic. He took another look at me and said, young man, okay. Okay. He just said, okay. And that was how I came at attending a Polytechnic. Yeah.
So that was what landed you in Yaba Tech.
Yes, of course. Yaba Tech story will be too long for today. I came into Yaba Tech, I think, by divine arrangement, because I applied, and I think on the deadline of submission, you know, the existing will call wait and get when you get to post office back in the days. Yeah. That was what I did on that day. You mark like a cross, you know, on the big brown envelope. And I sent it like an express post. And I was invited for the interview. And long story short again, I was, you know, given admission. So Yaba Tech was great inspiration, and it's still great inspiration because I draw strength from every little bit I got from Yaba Tech.
Like okay, said, at that point in Yaba Tech, who were the mentors there? Who were the tutors?
Oh, fantastic.
So let's trace something there.
Endless lists. Isiaka Osumbe, Professor Ogiugo, Kolade Oshinowo, Raji, Jenkins, Oshuga, Osemigi. There was Uncle Dave. There was Tony Jones, though in fashion design, but he was a friend to those of us in fine art. I remember he used me as a model along the line for one of the fashion shoots. So we had very, very rich people with the depth to give. You know, so we were taken through the kind of drill that has given the foundation that thankfully we are drawing from today. We had, the inspiration was so much. The drill was almost at breaking point. Yes, we got to breaking point because these guys, nobody will tell you you are doing anything fantastic. Even when you score all the 70s and 80s, they tell you you have not done anything. In fact, we used to call Yaba College of Horror. But they... So it was that tight, yes. So inspiration was high. Not to forget, Mr. Kayode Idoke was a massive impression on me.
Wow.
His works were like another level for me, because by the time I go into Yabatech, I saw his Berua, I saw the Jumat prayer. He used that, I think, the first Stack 77. I saw another one, I think, by the mechanic workshop or something. Those things just blew my mind. So I kept dreaming and hoping I would see him. I did not see him until after my youth service. And he became my boss at my first place of work, Concept Unit, an advertising agency, now TBWA.
Fantastic. You see the way, the progression of this journey. And so post Yabatech, because we are going somewhere, and some people are following, the progression, so that wherever they find themselves at this point, it will guide them to know what to do. So post NYSC, post Yabatech, what happened? What changed?
A lot changed, because now the dilemma is always that when you reflect and see where you are coming from, and you look ahead, you see the challenges, even though hazy, your immediate decision is to look for how to kind of fortify yourself in terms of how you set up your life. And that is going to be influenced by where you seek job opportunity. And for artists then, we were limited to teaching, but I knew that I had a gift that was needed in the advertising industry. And since I needed more pay and possibly more money, I opted to seek advertising. And lo and behold, I saw myself in presence of the mighty Idoke Kayode Ido at Concept Unit. And he didn't even ask for my result or NYSC discharge. He just gave me some tests to design something. I didn't, mark you, I didn't graduate as a graphic artist. So I just do the bit that I knew how to do. And he said to me, look, we are giving you employment. So I had to now beg him that, Oga, Mr. Oshinowo just gave me 2 portraits to paint, and he had paid me 400 naira. 400 naira was big money then. Yes, the time I'm talking, 20 naira was the cost of a room in Shomolu, where I was sharing with some of my Akwa Ibom friends. Yes, in Shomolu, Morocco Road. I shared the room with 2 brothers for a year and a month. So I had to take like 1 week off to finish the paintings for Mr. Oshinowo, then resumed work. But my head was not thinking that if I could get 400 through Mr. Oshinowo, why not endure and start your painting? But I think the way the mindset was have a steady job, where you know that there won't be challenges, because Mr. Oshinowo actually may not have portraits to give me to paint on a regular basis. So I took advertising, and guess what? My startup salary was the same 400 naira a month, and there was a tax deduction of about 35 naira or so, or 40 naira, I can't remember now. So at the end of it, I was actually earning less every month. And you have to wake up early in the morning to join the Molue, and you are in the office. I was employed as a visualizer illustrator. And I was the first artist to be employed in the studio. You know,
Wow.
Mr. Kayode and the rest, they were directors. So I opened the visual and the illustrators studio. So I was hemmed in there from 8 to 4 p.m. So it was, but the experience from advertising is still handy. I made friends. I learned a bit. It's just that looking back, I don't think I was very open to learning in terms of production. I hated production because it was something that pulled me down each time I get involved in such projects. But I loved film direction. I loved the storyboards. I loved all the illustrations. And but along the line, after about 3 years, I started longing to paint. Seeing the likes of Wrighty and Cole, you know, painting the city red, I started longing to paint. So after 6 years, I think from concept unit, I moved on to PromoServe as group head. I left PromoServe as group head to be a director at Peers and Associates. 7 months at Peers and Associates, I threw in the towel to start and pursue my dream as a full-time studio artist. That was precisely February 1992.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. At that point in the advertising sector, were you able to combine that practice with your studio?
No. You see, I think I have. I just have the ability to concentrate on what I do, and that actually informed my having to leave advertising. I didn't have the energy to swing or multitask. It's either I'm doing my illustrations and advertising, or I'm painting. I couldn't just move my brain around. I think so. So I love to specialize. So I had to throw in the towel. And I also think that it was just time for me to leave. I was no longer getting that fulfillment. Even though I was rising, I was having offers. Even after leaving advertising, big agencies, Rosabelle, Insights, SO&U, they kept calling in. And I was tempted to go back because life was tough outside of, I just got married. And there was no car. We were living in Baja.
So now I wanted to talk about the tough life.
Yes.
Yeah. What was it like? Because when someone sees you now, so this fresh man. So and I know you must have gotten the kicks. What was it like when you left the 9 to 5 and said his studio? What was the experience like? The challenges and how you were able to scale them? Yeah.
It was tough. It was like dropping from the clouds to the ground. Advertising is a glamorous world where you build brands, and you have sometimes to pretend to look like the brands that you manage, even when you are not actually like the brand. So those were the kind of swings. And taking the plunge to face my reality became a really tough challenge. But I thank God because there's a scripture that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So the strength came. And of course, I had a young wife who wasn't that demanding in terms of putting pressure for unnecessary stuff. She knew how we started. In fact, I pitied her for taking that plunge. One of the reasons I wanted to go back, but haven't taken or reached that decision to go and paint. I thought, endure a little bit, do the long suffering. There were times I had to literally trek on this Lagos. And that's when you see your old colleagues. I remember once in VIA, one of my colleagues in a brand new Honda Accord just stopped by. Edosa, what's up? I just say, oh, hello, I came to see somebody. And when he drove off, it's like, you could have had one of those cars now. What's your problem?
Yeah.
You know, those kind of thought. But it isn't about that. It is about your inner convictions. It's about what you want to do. It is about fulfilling purpose. It is about just making sure you enjoy what you do and live your life simply. Looking back, I thank God for the decision. Yes, it's still tough. Yes, you talked about my freshness. This is the gift of God. It's the gift of God. I still use Ori. I still use Ori for your information. And I think it's that simple. Again, remember, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon. I grew up from a very tough background. With my mom had three children for my dad. All the while, we lived in 2 rooms in a face me, I face you. And along the line, my father had 5 other children. So we became 8 in 2 rooms. So you can imagine. And I think those are the things that inspired me to say, I won't want to live this kind of life where you use curtains to share the rooms for the children. Yeah. You know, that kind of stuff. So, stories for another day. But it's the kind of makeup you still have people going through that experience today. So the reality here is that in life, there are stages, but keep your head down and learn to just enjoy every moment. That's my choice. I chose to be happy. I chose to enjoy it. I chose to live within that, you know, environment, within the circumstance, but soar above it in my reasoning. I had a picture. I knew I would become a full-time practicing artist. I'm still dreaming to become, you know, a world-class artist. I'm not quite there yet. There are very many fantastic artists around the world I'm looking up to. But I just want to practice and practice and practice more. Mark you, there's something we keep saying I don't completely agree with. I used to say so. I think that there are so many inspirations, and I realize that, like scripture says, money answereth all things. So when you work, the only challenge is don't love money. Don't love money. I emphasize, don't love money. But money, when you dream of your worth, it can be an inspiration. Because when you have the dream, you'll be able to plug the money to actualize or bring to physical reality the structures for you to practice, for you to affect others. For instance, why are artists like us not running ateliers in Nigeria, for instance? You have ateliers all over the world, apart from maybe Universal Studios that has tried to put some structures down. Why are artists like us? Why do I just have, yes, I thank God for what I have, but why can't we run an atelier where you have other artists who come, fellowship, we interact based on what we do. We have younger artists, we have artists from other climes. So all of this can be answered with money. So money should be part of the dream, but not to get you drunk, not to get you misbehaving, but to get you achieving stuff. So maybe, put it in another way, collaboration with people who know, with people who can buy into your dream, who have the means to partner, to bet your ideas. So I think I would like to tie it up like that. So inspiration is all over land, and I thank you for asking that question. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now let's take it further. When you left the 9 to 5, yes, what was your first point of contact when it comes to sales? How easy was it?
Interestingly, I put a piece in SNA show that year. Guess who saw it? It didn't sell at the show, but I got a note from Mr. Aka of Signature.
Oh,
he was the one that launched. He was the one that launched my career. and I was with him for 6 years. By that time, I have learned to paint horses. I have learned to paint horses. So that was how my career was launched. And that was how I completely, because to some point, I was still consulting for agencies and the likes, on like running like a hot shop. I had a printer friend in Shomolu who gave me a room in his office where I would go like 2 times. I had another boy, graphic artist, graduate from Yabatech, Jide Akinteye. So we were running that place. But by the time this guy launched my career, I just told Jide, you can hold that place. I want to stay in my studio. That was how I started. Yes.
All right, great. Talking about horses now. We're getting into your work. What all the women in your lives? You have been painting women and horses.
I love women. I love women. No doubt about it.
So your subject matter, this preference, women and horses, speak to that.
Now, let's take it from the human angle. I love women because I have a certain attachment to them. From my growing up, I realized that they are achievers that are least celebrated. That is one. It's almost bringing tears, remembering that my mom didn't stay long enough to enjoy us. The rigors they go through, the ability to multitask, the way they tend to things, and you have a society that kind of relegates their achievements and contributions. So that is my attachment to women. But in terms of my expressions, I see them intervening at every circumstance. They have some of the they have the greatest pool in terms of flexibility. They are very expressive, and they convey emotions. So every artist will be drawn to that kind of, arrangement. And again, maybe that's why God blessed me with a beautiful young woman. My daughter, we have a daughter. And when I went for my wine carriage in Niger Delta, that was when it dawned on me I should start painting women. The energy in their dance, I think they call it Oyege or so. The energy in their dance when they come just blew me away. So I think that's how I go into painting a lot of women, enjoying the dynamism in their movement. Now, if you tie that to the horses are elegant, they are intelligent, they are graceful and powerful. Now, give the credit to Rahman Aka of Signature, who launched my career. One day he just sat me down and said, with your ability to draw, have you ever tried drawing a horse? I said, yes, once in my second year in school. Then he said, okay, I will send you some canvases. That was the arrangement. He used to send the 4x4, 6x4, huge canvases. And I did the first horse. Next day or 2 days later, I went to the gallery. The work was gone. There was commission for 2 more. And that was how that started. I started enjoying. So you see the tie now with the support of patronage and patrons and ability to fast track or develop your career. So let's not separate them. I tell people, when somebody tells you stop talking about money, you have to query and investigate those kind of talk. Don't love money. But anybody that says don't think about money, I think is suspicious. It's good as a business because, yes, art is no more for leisure. Art has become business. There's what you call art business. And in art business, do you just paint and the painting take care of themselves? No. So nobody should be intimidated. When somebody tells you stop talking about money, tell the person, okay, pay my bills, you will have the work. You understand it? So, so that's the most I can talk about my women and my horses. The intelligence, the dynamism, the gracefulness, the elegance, and the sheer power of the horse. And till tomorrow, I'm still learning how to draw the horse because it's so intricate. You do some, you will understand what I'm talking about. If you are not careful and you don't get the anatomy right, like the one behind me, I've been doing this for a couple of months. Of course, I have dropped it, come back to it, but it's always a process. It's always a process. Yeah.
Great. Fantastic. Well, you and Duke Asidere, we don't know who like Kuma pass. Babatu, he likes women. All right. I came in contact, I think it was in 2005. I found a calendar. And that was MTN. For your works to grace that calendar is huge. Yeah. How did that come about?
That was, you see, that, you know, some of these things, because of our peculiar environment, there's no real structure. 2004 was a year I was going to set out looking for management outside of the country. So I was in the UK for the first 5 months. I think it was during that first 5 months. I was sharing a studio in Camden Town, the heart of London, with my old school friend, Guduns. In Camden Town, when I got a call from Nigeria from Peter Madiebo, who was dealing my works then in Nigeria. And he said, look, MTN, they are looking for you. They are looking for you. The CEO, everybody, they are looking for you. I said, well, tell them I'm in London. There's nothing I can do. Anyway, long story short, because I had to come back after 5 months, we went for a meeting and they said, look, we want XYZ work. They briefed us. They wanted my works for the 13th page. That's from the cover to December. In my head, I said, wow. Now, the issue was the medium of expression. So I suggested that, okay, because I knew the challenges, because I needed to fly back to the UK to conclude on my deals with the agent. And I suggested that, okay, let's do these works on watercolor paper, full imperial. That's a full sheet. So I did it with, I did them with gouache, what they call poster color.
Wow.
And mailed them. So it was a commission that came like a mystery. A long story short, that was how it came. I don't know what else to do. So I did the paintings in the UK, sent them via shipment to Lagos. And thankfully, it graced. And I heard they used it to embellish their head office in South Africa, had a mural of it. They have a storage, like a museum. I feel really honored to have been chosen to do that project. It was used for their corporate calendar 2005. Unfortunately, the floods in Surulere affected my storage then, and I lost all of the. They actually have the originals, but I had copies, so I lost all of those copies to the flood.
No, you didn't. You didn't lose all, because one of the calendars, the one I'm talking to you here now. That calendar changed. Everything is still in my head. I cut them in pieces, pasted them, and was studying them from page to page. There was a footballer, there were people dancing, all kinds of expressions. So thank you for getting that done. Now, let's go to the core of our discussion today. We want to talk about niche carving. You know, my students often ask, how do I define my path in my practice? Now, for you, what informed what you are doing? At what point did you decide that this is the path I want to follow? This is how I want to paint? Because in the face of several movements and directions in this present time, a lot of young artists are confused on what to do or where to go. For you, who told you this is where you should go? Or what told you, what informed the decision to remain? And you have been doing, I've been following you for over 15, 20 years. And Edosa Ogiugo, if I see your work anywhere and it's not signed, I know that this is you. So what has kept you in this space? What brought you here? And why are you still doing what you are doing?
I think sincerity of purpose is one. And the passion to express your inner emotions, to pour yourself into a piece, will inform you to find yourself. You seek. Painters or artists are seekers. They dwell in a realm beyond the physical. And every reflective artist would love to find himself. For every artist, there's a place for you in that realm. And that place is where you lay your foundation from where you take off. Now, and it is instructive to listen to people who lecture or teaches you. No matter what you think about them. I think I was in my OND 1 or 2 in Yabate. And the instructor just came and said, today, no erasers. And I was saying, wow. Now, I used to do my shadings very smoothly, but I had seen Iduke's work. I have seen Sigala's work. I have seen, there was one guy we called Mato. They used cross hashing. And I was saying, what kind of madness is this? So that day, guess what happened? That day, because there were no erasers, everywhere I was supposed to erase, I would cross hash it. Then I discovered that it was looking good on the rubbed areas. So I started cross hashing. And then I discovered that I was getting freer with my lines. Then I realized that there was design. You know, there's a way they teach you these things, you can't relate them. When you do basic design, you don't know that there is design in painting or drawing. Then I started to realize that you can vary the weight of your lines. You can lay emphasis, you can de-emphasize. You can have your thin, the fat, the long, and the very strong lines to make statements. That was how I started. So when I took my brush, you know, there is a round and a flat brush. It became very interesting. Even though I was in my ONG, I played around with the flatness. I played around with the thin. You know, that flat brush, when you have pigment in it, the hair or the fog, they come together, the bristle, they come together. So if you hold it without so much energy, just take a deep breath, as if you are floating. When you leave it on the surface of your canvas with fluency, you will find the very finest lines from those big flat brushes. So I started playing with it, but I was just painting and doing my assignment, but deep within me, I was trying to find myself within that space. So I had criticism that, oh, your works, you know, your colleagues will say, why are you throwing your colors and your brushes here and there? But guess what? When we go into the painting class in HND1, my first assignment, if I remember very well, we went to Fade to do drawings of draft player. Wow. Lagos was not this developed. Yes, there was a Pami joint where we also patronized around the corner. Now that's a story for another day. So I did. I did some drawings there, and by the time I finished the pen, it was on a 4x3. Wow. Professor Grillo came the next morning and said, "That is a promising artist." That was talking my head. Even though when people said, "Oh, your brush strokes and everything," he analyzed my painting. He saw, he will pieces your work. He will undress it to the skeleton. And he talked about the positive. Then I knew he didn't condemn my style. Mark you, I'm specializing now, HND1.
Yeah.
The fact that he kept quiet on my style, but analyzed the positives. Actually told members of the class they should borrow my sketch pad because you will submit your drawing with your works.
Oh.
Now I became really scared because I was the youngest in the class. How can people be coming to borrow my sketch pad? You just said they should borrow my sketch pad. So that was how the story started, and I just enjoyed myself through school. You know,
amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure the listeners are gleaning so much from this expression. Well, our time is running. Okay, yeah. By God's grace, you'll be 60 next year. Are we having? And let me just put it out here so that all of us will be on your neck. We want to see a solo exhibition from you.
I don't know. I think I'm lazy towards a solo. I've only had a solo exhibition. Yes, somebody has been talking with me for like 2 years now.
Wow.
Yes, I've been working. I think the challenge is to be able to get a few works that are satisfactory for the show. I'll see how that goes. I can't promise anything.
Don't worry.
Who is being on my neck, you know. But no big parties. Yes, a solo show would be cool, really. It would be cool. All things being equal. Yes, I don't know.
Don't worry. Leave your children. Leave the logistics to us. We know what to do. Don't bother. Just mention whatever gallery you want it to be.
I've only had one solo show in my career, 1995.
So, so what issue? Because your works, you can barely put them together. You know, in a large number to now say, okay, yeah. I remember I got to Manchester and I saw one of the biggest Nigerian collectors there, yeah, Dr. Valerie. She's got some of your fantastic paintings. I said, I've seen this painting on paper. I'm privileged to see it. All right, before we close, what are your tips for the emerging artists? We've gone through, thank you for taking us through your journey, and I'm sure they can hear and see that you didn't just arrive here. People want to have a piece of the cake, but they don't understand the pain of the baker. Now that you have taken us through the journey. So because your time is different from this time.
Very true. I sympathize with them because we have a pool of army of visual artists in town. But don't lose your head. You see, I think everybody is relevant in his time. If you have the conviction, the only thing I think is missing now is that not everybody who graduated as a visual artist should paint for a living.
Yeah.
It is difficult to swallow, but I think that has become the reality. We need to develop a value chain within the art business sector. And it is only people with the requisite knowledge that can drive the value chain. And I think the conversations now need to border around how to develop the value chain. Who is documenting us? Like you are doing now, for instance. You are doing this via the media or social media. Who is documenting us via writing? Who is visiting and creating that ecosystem for the artists to interact? It is only somebody with the kind of energy and passion and depth of knowledge that can do it. So now some of the graduates needs to think outside of the box. And those who chose to remain must learn that our journey is a calling to long suffering. That is the home truth. Yours truly, I used to tell people I come across with that you should respect yourself by the way you conduct yourself as a practicing artist. You should look at your colleague in other disciplines that left school or graduated same time, see their consciousness and how they pursue their dream. So there will be phases in your life. Don't be under any pressure. Don't be under useless and unnecessary competition. You know, there is this saying in my place, away mommy, to me no more or women. Okay. Locally, okay, let me try and say that in English. All of us, we have different head shapes and sizes. So I cannot so much admire your hairstyle, and I tell the designer, you must make my hairstyle look like, without taking into account the contours and my head shape. So literally, that's what I was trying to say in my dialect. So you should know that you are wonderfully and you are wonderfully made. You are a unique person. You've got your space, like they say now, your lane to follow. But at the same time, you need to flock with your colleagues so that you can cross-fertilize, so that iron can sharpen iron. But don't be under any pressure. Just be sincere. Paint and practice from your heart. Learn to absorb and reflect on criticism or critiques. Don't take anything personal. Just know that it's a marathon. It's never a sprint. No way. But most importantly, I think that we have challenges of spaces to practice. We have challenges with the kind of materials to use. We don't have enough material. There's scarcity. You know, in this climate, scarcity is the #1 challenge anybody will face. There's so much scarcity. There are no professional materials. Even the amateur materials, they are hard to come by. Yeah. So these are some of the things that we need to start thinking about changing. For the young ones, never lose hope. Dream big, start small. Dream big, start small. I deliberately shared a picture of the backyard at Morocco Road one time on my page. You know, when you live in a face me, I face you, you have to create your space. So I painted on a makeshift easel at the backyard. Of course, the children playing will come disturb, the women cooking behind will come disturb, but I was zeroed in on what I was doing. But I knew I was working towards getting a bigger space. And to the glory of God, the journey has continued. And God giving us life, I'm sure that we are going to do bigger things for the community in this land. Yes.
Hey, fantastic! Thank you so much. I didn't see it coming this way, and it's been amazing. I'm sure somebody is fired up. Well, coincidentally, I live close to that. At my church now is around that same Morocco. So I hope that house, yeah, but most of the houses, they've been sold, you know. So it shows that it is a journey, like you said. Dream big, start small. And the sky will be
keep dreaming.
Keep dreaming.
Keep dreaming. Keep dreaming. Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much, sir, for honoring this invitation. In the course of our discussion, we've had several people who joined us. One of your mentees, Additive Sketcher, Alade.
Oh, Banju.
Yeah, Banju. Yeah. So you see, it was our guest a few weeks ago. You have been inspired, and his story also shares affinity with so much you have said to us, how it started and the resilience, and today is who he is. So I'm sure those who have listened must have taken so much to understand that you won't just get there in a day. It's a journey, and you just keep going forward, making progress, and with God by your side, you will surely get there. So very big thank you, because I know in this 1 hour, you for don't paint 2 horses. So thank you for sharing this experience, and I'm sure very soon, post-COVID, we'll bring you back to share more experience with us.